Stand clear.
100% Wild Podcast.
So for all you listeners,
Hello, and welcome to
definitely not your favorite outdoor podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild Podcast, brought to you by DeerCast. This is episode number 287, if you can believe it. We can't.
Only 13 more till
Dang.
300.
And then we can quit.
I can do math.
Hey, well.
And I'm a big boy.
Yeah, you're doing maths.
See, I got both fingers
He's breaking
out.
his fingers out.
I go, here's how I do the math. All right, so I know that 290 to 300 would be 10. Okay, so that's
it's
two hands of fingers if you have all your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there I would go, okay, 290. So I got to go backwards.
Carry the one.
So what I would do is I go 287 to 290, 87, 88, 89. That's how I do math.
Dang.
That's not how I really do math.
That's Matt Drury behind that mic, if you're wondering who's doing the ciphering.
I was an abacus.
Yeah, you're like a human abacus.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's like, you want to hear my gazintas? 2 gazinta 4 2 times, 2 gazinta 6 3 times.
And that is Tim Chelsvik with the abstract knowledge of gazintas.
The anachronistic comedy.
That's right. So we have no guest today. It's been a long time since we've done an episode without a guest.
I missed you.
Every once in a while, we like to throw one in, see what's up, what we're up to. And
usually there's not much. That's why we don't do
well,
very
hunting
many of
season
them.
started. We haven't done one since hunting season started, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to recap a little bit about your first few hunts, my first few hunts, and dive into a little bit about the Rack Pack success. I love it. We're starting to see a bunch of Rack Pack hero shots in the Facebook page.
Yeah, it's been cool to see. So how many hunts in total have you been on so
Only
far?
2.
Okay.
Last week I
same
went
here.
Thursday, Friday.
Same here. And what, like, where are you going? What are you looking for in your, like, what are you waiting for in order to go hunt? Because it's kind of sketchy this time of year.
It is, but it's one of those things. So I'm paying pretty. It's not that I changed this part of my method up, but I'm paying close attention to DeerCast and that good and great. If it's okay, which is still okay to hunt, I usually don't bother. And sometimes I kick myself, watching the cell cameras. You're like, shit,
Sure.
man. There may have been a factor. The wind was, good enough wind speed where they were moving actually. Like we were going through the dark of the moon period there. And so I'm not as laser focused as going because I know where the biggest deer that I have to hunt are on my lease in Marthasville. And so if I'm going to go out there, historically, last year, it's around the full moon when they move the best during daylight. Mm-hmm. Now, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because in the first 2 sits, I've already had encounters with, shooters. And last year, I couldn't tell you. I was trying to remember back. It had to have been at least like 15 sits in. Like it was a long
Last year
stretch.
was tough.
Minus, Doug, who killed his second time out last year while I was in Kansas.
That's how you do it.
Minus that deer showing up, no other deer showed up in
Yeah.
daylight. So I kind of feel like we've dialed in a little better. Mm-hmm. We know the deer herd a little better.
Because this is your number 2.
It
on
is
that piece,
your number
right?
2. Intrusion, I think, is, although up in the front part of the property, it's really bad because they're putting a wedding venue in.
Yeah.
But back where we're hunting, it's not as bad as it used to be. Mm-hmm. And I think a big difference is, although they look like crap, for the most part, we have food.
Food plots.
Yeah, we have food plots. It's not just the beans at the farm, the soybeans the farmer planted. So I think we have a few things going to our advantage that we did not last year. And so as long as we continue to hunt smart, I think we have a good opportunity to see more activity from our shooters and certainly more daylight activity. I can't tell you how many times last year we went out and we didn't even see a deer until dark.
And that's tough. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it's just
Like, I'm away from my family right now.
Yeah.
I could be
You get
working
it.
my part-time job at Walmart.
exactly. So, I mean, that's so far, small sample size, but so far so good. I definitely also capitalized on that cold front last week. Like the weather's been okay.
It's like a normal front.
Yeah, but last week it went from 95 or 97.
We broke records here in St.
down
Louis.
to 70 or 68 or something like that. It was a huge temperature drop. Huge. Hold it. I got one for that. Huge. So that I also put in the back of my mind as, you know what? I mean, I'm thinking we got it more dialed in, but we also just hit a 30-degree temperature drop, and that kind of cold front, either it's going to shut them down or it's going to really get them up on their feet. But as you alluded to it kind of brought it back to normal temperatures, just below normal temperatures, and they moved good. And so I think that was a good factor. And, and then as you always deal with it as well, family, father, there's certain things at home that you can't get out of, sports, and your kids are in cross country. Cameron's doing flag football and soccer, and I'm helping coach. Like there's certain things you just aren't going to get out for. So you're pinpointing your days in that regard too.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm just curious, what kind of coach are you?
I like to get in these kids' faces and tell them to suck it up.
Grab by the mask.
No, honestly, it's flag football, so they don't have helmets. But I basically, yesterday we had practice, and these kids cry too easy. And I'm like, are you physically hurt? I said, are you hurt? No.
It's weird when I'm screaming at them, they're sitting there crying.
No, they're not crying because I'm screaming at them. They're crying because they're you-know-whats. And so... I get it. They're only 8, but they're crying for no reason. And so I get in their face and say, hey, are you hurt? No, I'm not hurt. I'm like, suck it up.
Yeah.
Go go pull a flag. Go get a touchdown.
Which may be the first time they've
ever
been
heard
treated that way.
So the kid, it's the same group of kids that my son was in Cub Scouts with, and all these parents wanted me and Justin, our sons are the same age, Justin Lurk, and so they wanted us to be scout leaders. And I was like, man, I don't have the time commitment. I just can't do it in the fall. That's when they're doing everything is in the fall.
Well, there's a court order against that too.
Yeah. Right? So I said, I told one of the moms, I'm like, honestly, I don't think you would want me to be the scout leader. She's like, I think that's what these kids need. They need a little discipline. I was like, I don't think you're ready for what I'm going to tell them. So
yeah,
I treat them like they're my own.
I got asked to coach the cross country team at my kids' school, and both Bo and Sophie are running this year. Sophie's 10, Bo's 5, and I was like, I'm not sure they're ready for the kind of training I would put them through.
But you'd be a good coach for that. I mean, that's your expertise.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, that would be something that would be right up your alley.
100%.
But I think here's the challenge if you were to do it. And I've never been put in this position before, so I never realized it. But coaching your own kid, I have a tendency. Every kid says the same damn thing. I want to run the ball. I want to be the quarterback. I want to catch the ball. They all want to do the same thing. Nobody wants to hike the dang thing. Nobody wants to, do the crappy jobs. Yeah. Well, I find myself, they're all asking, can I run the ball? Can I be the running back? And that's the one thing Cameron's pretty good at. I find myself saying no to him because I don't want to show favoritism towards him. So I already think man, I shouldn't be his coach. I shouldn't be his coach because I'm going to unfairly say no to him.
He's
just to
get screwed.
He's a little bit, yeah. But
you having flashbacks to your career?
Dad was never there. Let me tell you. No, I don't.
Well, not giving you favorites here at Drury Outdoors.
Oh, that I can relate to.
In fact, going the other direction.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I'm the way I am.
Gets in the cradle.
Oh shit. Well, then I should just stop because he's got a long, shitty road ahead of him.
This is like your psychotherapy session.
Oh man, we got
everyone's watching.
Move back to the deer.
So the kids had their last cross country meet this past Saturday, and we get there my mom comes, my brother Andy comes, and Beth is off. She's got something else she's doing Saturday morning, and Bo just wants to roll around in the blankets under the little canopy tent and eat snacks and drink water. And
who wouldn't?
and I just said, screw it, whatever. He was supposed to run, and he's like, I don't want to run. He's starting to pitch a fit. I was like, fine, don't run.
I don't care.
Lay there.
You suck.
golly, it's just
God, I hate you sometimes.
sometimes as a parent, you're just like, this is a battle I don't care that much about.
How can you be mine?
So I was like, it wasn't a good feeling because I want him to push.
Sure.
I want him to, and we paid for him to run.
More importantly, I'm a tight ass.
Do you know how much it costs for you to run today? For you to lay around and eat snacks under the
It costs double because you're not only not running, but you're eating the food I just bought. Yeah. So okay. So you've been out twice so far hunting, and the one I know I saw on your Instagram reels.
Mm-hmm.
You had a pretty interesting encounter right out of the gate, right?
Did you get the reference to the music that I chose for that?
You have to remind me which track was it. No.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out,
Okay.
which I spent hours on as a kid. Nintendo.
And you reference that song because these two are going toe to toe.
They're fighting
head to head, actually.
They are. Yeah, it was cool. So that was. I take that back. I've been out 3 times. That was my second hunt.
Tim's a liar.
I enjoy lying. It makes my life a little more interesting. Usually they're inconsequential lies. They benefit me.
White
none.
lies. Those are the best ones.
The lies that don't get you anywhere. This is a stand that I set because I realized the year previous I had it set too close to the bedding. It's back in the timber, and these deer are bedded down in an old, overgrown pasture. And I was just getting too close to it, and I think they were hearing me before. So I pulled it back. It's across a little valley, and there's pretty much a year-round scrape that they work, and it stays active all year. I set the stand back in the summertime, and I got up into it. Access is really good. Wind's in my face. And I don't know, around 5:30 or so, this really nice 3-year-old 10-pointer comes walking up the hillside. I assume coming from the bed. It's so thick back in there, I can't see more than probably 50, 60 yards. And he's joined by a little scraggly, like 4 or 5-pointer, and walks up. He works the scrape, and old Tim would have shot him.
I even commented. I'm like, why are you? Well, it came out as, why aren't you shouting? Damn autocorrect. I only saw that the next day. It popped back in my feed. I'm like, God dang it. I was
that
saying,
made me laugh.
why aren't you shooting? Because I thought for sure you'd hammer one of those 2 deer.
Yeah.
That older looking deer, I thought for sure you were going to let it fly right in front of you.
He kept posing like, shoot me.
Posing.
Please shoot me.
Yeah.
And because he worked the scrape, he urinated, he bedded down twice in front of me.
That means he peed.
And I was like, there's a lot going on here. It was just really fun to be in the stand and have that much.
Was that your first hunt of the year?
Second.
It's either way. It was like that's a very great way to start.
Yeah, it was cool. And so I'm filming him, but it's also dead quiet in there. And he's at the closest, he's 15 yards. At
So
the
that's why
farthest,
you weren't shouting.
He's right. Normally I'd be like, hey, what's up?
Just yelling, Timmy.
The really neat thing was I wasn't sure, because it's so tight in there, you're not sure what's coming next. And so
That's what she said.
I keep the camera rolling, and a doe pops out a little farther down the valley, and then I see another rack buck pop out, and he's wider. I can tell he's a lot wider. And so I turn the camera on him, and he's another 3-year-old, but he walks up, and they start posturing, and then they lock up. It's really interesting this time of year how the deer will kind of casually just walk to each other head to head, and then start gently locking up, and then kind of get into it.
That fight that was pretty aggressive. I felt like for this time of year. I've started seeing on trail cameras in the last 2 weeks them start, when they're batched up in the summer, you don't see hardly any of that. And then they lose their velvet, they start splitting up, and then all of a sudden you start seeing some of that. And here within the last 10 days, I'd say I've seen a lot more of bucks, on camera. It's all been at night basically, but bucks starting to lock up a little bit. So it was interesting to see that in daylight right in front of you, and then be so aggressive about it, because it felt like it was like a mid-November or late October type of sparring session.
I was like, look at my watch. You guys know what month it is?
Yeah.
But then they left. They went north of me through a thicket, and it kind of the timber opens up back in there. It's almost like a little meadow, and I was screened a little bit, but I could see that there were like two or three other bucks that joined them, and I don't know how big they were, but they started locking up. So it's like WWF over there, and one buck I could see through the screen got flipped on his side. Like it was really aggressive. So
I've never seen that.
I went over on Saturday and I hung a bunch of helium climbing sticks and put a little platform up there to get in the saddle.
Oh boy.
$200 is $200.
That's right. When I hunt out of a saddle, I kill deer.
Every time?
With the exception of 2 times.
How many times have you done it?
6.
Oh, it's good. Those are good odds.
Yeah. Just
Just because you're getting in closer?
Well,
maybe I need to hunt this deer. I'm after Marthasville with a saddle. I couldn't do it, I don't think.
Yeah,
swinging that meme you see.
You could. The only problem, the tree I'm
Michael
in,
Scott swinging. You've seen that meme,
I've got
right?
that meme probably 20 times already. It's so funny because I've become an unintentional poster child for saddle hunting, and
because you're the only one that does it in Drury
I do
Outdoors.
it so little, but it's enough to where that's the tag
Mark
I
just
got.
totally berates you for it. You know what I mean?
He'll send me a saddle meme, and he'll say, "This isn't directed at you. I just saw it and thought it was funny."
Like, sure.
That's a lie.
Giddy up.
Going out tomorrow, and we'll see. There's supposed to be tomorrow's Wednesday. It's supposed to be a big drop. DeerCast is showing super green, really great. It's gonna be good, and you're gonna be in Jefferson City.
No, Springfield.
Springfield. Okay, it's the Jefferson. Springfield is the Jefferson City of Missouri, I think is what they call it.
I've never heard that.
Doesn't make any
Whale's vagina?
sense.
Is that what they call it? That's a Anchorman reference. I didn't just make that up.
Let's clear that up here.
Okay, so pretty big deal, though. Not anything to do with me, but I'm
Augmented by you.
Listen,
Okay,
Mark
listening.
and Terry are winning another award, or wouldn't be winning.
Honored.
they're
being
getting
honored.
it. It's the Missouri.
It's the Lewis and Clark Award from Missouri the Missouri Conservation Heritage Foundation.
Yes.
There's 2 words in there that I want to juxtapose every time I say
Yes, and it is a high honor, and they're winning one of the conservation, because there's several different awards given out for conservation, and they're one of 4 or 5 that they're winning something.
And I think they get
winning
an honorary doctorate as
what?
part of it.
That you're making up.
Yeah, a little bit.
That would be cool.
Dr. Drury.
We
Dr.
already
Drury.
have a resolution, Tim.
Yeah, we do.
Right here behind me, in fact,
Let it
on
be
the
known.
podcast set. We have a resolution from the state of Missouri. Now they're being honored with the conservation Lewis and Clark Conservation Award, and pretty cool stuff, actually. I mean, it's pretty neat, high honor. And when they were told about it, and we were told the date, which was September 28th, both Mark and Terry said the same thing. Guarantee you the best cold front of the year will be on that day.
And guess what happened?
So if you have a kid getting married, or if you have some event that you want them to attend, you might as well just skip asking them from September to January.
Expect a gift card.
Because they always say the same thing. It's like, oh, great, going to be a cold front. And they are always right. It's uncanny how many times they're right.
I don't know who is a deer hunter and chooses to have a major life event during deer season.
Mark, his wedding anniversary is like October 13th, I think.
How did that happen?
It was before he was a good hunter, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the heart wants what the heart wants.
No, at the end of the day, I don't know how it played out. I wasn't old enough, but whatever the wife says is what goes. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's what Scott's finding out.
Yeah, that's right.
We should say congratulations to Scotty.
Oh, hold it.
He's hitched up.
So Scott Heminger here in the studio, social media manager, the quarterback here, my
QB.
my right-hand guy. I wouldn't be able to do it without him.
The wind beneath your wings.
That's right. He got married. Congratulations. I'm
to a
going to give the
lady.
applause. Beautiful lady. But here's a perfect instance where the lady told him what to do. he did it. He went to Iceland for how many days?
The country.
10 days he went to Iceland, right through the opener. But honestly, if it was any time, I would rather be that time. Like I have any say in it. I remember the first time he told me, I'm like, hey, cool, that's great, whatever. It's no big deal. We'll figure it out. And Ben filmed me and Aaron filmed me. But sure enough, I mean, a major cold front hit while he was gone.
Why not?
And I should have killed a deer. And I'm going to blame the fact that Aaron Bennett was with me and not Scott. In all reality, it was my fault, though.
Yeah, so what happened in that encounter?
Yeah, so I guess I didn't really dive into it. So the first night out, we encountered a deer we call Ric Flair's G1's Flare Out. That's right. And he was on the We're Not Sure list. You got a hit list, the no-kill list, and the I don't know list. And he was on the I'm not sure, I need to see him in person. And seeing him in person, I do think he's probably 5, but he was super spindly as rack. He was just real spindly, his tines. And so I thought, well, last year we weren't sure. We had several encounters with him last year, and he was out the night I killed. But we weren't sure if he was 3 or 4 last year. And so this year, I'm not sure if he's 4 or 5, but I'm going to give him the benefit of that. He's got a great frame, beautiful deer. Yeah. Mainframe 8. And I thought, you know what? He's actually a 9, but he's mainframe 8. And I thought, let's just give him one more year. Mm-hmm. And he's nice. He's a homeboy. We keep encountering him in the same food plot.
You thought, let's give him one more year last year?
No, last year I knew for sure he needed another year.
At this encounter, you thought.
But once I saw him in person, the first night out, I'm like, he needs another year. Plus, I know what other deer are on the property. There's a good chance that we could kill a better deer. Yeah. Potentially. So, anyways, we see him. He comes out. We have had really bad luck with rain. So my food plot, it looks like a putting green because the way we had to go back in there, like certain areas grew right in the middle, in the shape of a wiener, frankly. Oh. And everything around it didn't grow. And so Scott went back in there before he left. He lightly dissed it up, and we ended up planting, because we had a biologic mix, and then we went back and planted on the parts he dissed up. Okay. I think it was oats and winter wheat. And anyway, so we haven't gotten rain since. So it literally looks like a baseball diamond. I mean, it looks like crap. And so we went in there and hunted it on a wind. I looked at wind check in DeerCast, and I even told Ben before we went in there, I'm like, all right, this is where they should be coming from. Our wind's blowing where they should be coming from. But I just had this sneaky suspicion based on our trail cameras that they're actually coming out a little further to our right. Okay. So we went in there, we sat it, we scent proof, blind, and we were all, scent free. And every deer that came out to the right of us, but they kept going straight to this little patch of green. And we're sitting behind, 80 acres of beans behind us.
Were they starting to yellow?
Not yet. They got planted real late. Okay. So every deer went right to this biologic.
The oasis.
Yeah, it literally is a little oasis. And
that's why I said that.
Yeah. And it was downwind of us, but we never got winded. No, nothing messed with us.
Windows shut?
Windows shut, yeah. Well, then, out of nowhere, I look over to the right, and it was to the right, kind of behind us, to the side behind us. Okay. And I saw Ric Flair come out, and so he starts feeding.
Did you shout at him?
Woo!
Why aren't you shouting?
And he's coming out, and he's kind of eating some like volunteer beans that grew up, and I think, hey, he might end up going out to the food in front of us, but we're filming behind us, and the deer can look right through where we're kind of side profiled, I guess. Yeah. And a doe starts getting kind of goosey on us, and she's directly downwind. And she.
What does she do?
She doesn't. She doesn't wind us. Okay. See, there is another way to say it, Tim.
Nice job.
She didn't wind us, but she was getting real goosey. And he looks up, looks at her. she ends up kind of trotting off. He goes back into the timber. That was at 6:10. And so it was early.
There's still time, yeah.
Oh, plenty. And so he ends up coming back out, and this time, they're not messing around with this food plot anymore. They're going to go straight to the beans. And so he was within bow range again, but I had already decided, let's see what comes out. Well, right at last light, I look back behind us again to see if he's still there, if anything's moving, and I see a couple of racks, and I throw up the Leopolds, and what I could only think was a different deer, because last I saw him, he was out in the beans, and these deer were just over by the timber, just came out. So we got some footage of them, and I thought they come up this drainage ditch on the backside of this pond dam. And I thought, man, I bet they do that every night, because we're not getting them on trail camera, and I got all my trail cameras right near the box blind that we're sitting. So anyways, we decide the next night, Aaron Bennett films me, we decided to move another blind in that I had on a Keen trailer, but not pop it up. So move it kind of push in on where they were coming out. Okay. And with the intention that at some point we will sit it, but we didn't want to sit it that night in case they were kind of spooking on it. And so we went back to the same blind. We hunted it on the wrong wind again, based on the MRI that they all came upwind from us. They came out upwind from us. I thought we'd be safe. Well, almost every night, without fail, I get cell camera pictures of the deer we're after going back to bed at this little corner of the property. Okay. And that's where our wind was blowing. So we're scent proof again, where the windows are shut. We're running ozone in the box blind just to be safe. Slow night. It rained most of the night, which, thank goodness I needed it. And a couple deer that came out, they kind of shied away from the new blind and worked towards us. So our plan was working. They were within bow range. We had totally changed our setup to film basically behind us. Okay. Because that's where all the deer came out the night before. And sure enough, at the very end of the night, I look back and I'm like, shoot, there's two racks. And I put up the Leopolds again. Sure enough, it's one of our shooters and it's Ric Flair together. And they've been running together in this area. So we had to switch our entire setup because our chairs, everything, and we were sitting in these new, there's not these muddy chairs we're sitting on here. They're these new Hawk chairs, and they're a little wider. Okay. And let me tell you something. I mean, they were wide enough where they were very hard to, in the heat of the moment, maneuver around. You better be set up right. Yeah. When you got two guys, it's just difficult. We had camera gear and bags and,
and you're big guys, big for your size.
One of the two. And so, anyways, we get situated, and here they're coming. They beeline to that biologic.
What time is this?
It was. I looked at my phone, and it was 7:23. Oh boy! And last light was 7:29.
It's crazy how they just know.
Oh yeah, and so. I thought, they're going to stay at the end there and eat. Nope, sure shit. They walk right. Ric Flair walked right past us, right through bow range. And he's kind of looking at the blind because we're up moving. We're trying to get situated. And of all things, because we had changed our setup from being where they usually come out, which is where they did. Yeah. We were to the side. So we had that window shut off, and I had an ozone unit. Sure. On the little part that the window goes up to. Yeah. And so I had unlatched the window, and it was popped open about an inch, and I was getting ready to put it up, and Bennett's like, oh, the ozone. So I had to reach up and try to get it off. Well, he had put it on so tight that it wouldn't come off, and so it was making a squeaking noise against the rubber.
We're here.
And of course the window had been popped, so that noise is getting out.
And there's probably very little wind,
zero.
Quiet.
Very quiet. And so I have 3 minutes left. Because I'm still paying attention to that. Yeah. And I'm looking at my watch, and 3 minutes left. I'm trying to range, and it's dark.
Do you have your light on your sight at that point?
Yep. Okay. I had it on, and I think I had it on. And so Well, I know that I had my HHA. I'm shooting that new Rise, and so it's got 2 pins, but I just set the top pin at 20, and my next pin's at 35. So I know it's somewhere in between those two is where I'm gonna have to shoot.
Your eyes are closed when you shoot anyway.
That's
so
right.
It doesn't matter.
Just hoping that I shoot something, hit something.
Point in the direction.
So of course, Ric Flair gets by us, and then the short G210 is the deer we were after. Is a deer that came out last year when I went to kill the deer I killed, and so we got great history with him. I know he's mature, big body, and good mass or whatever. He's just short tined,
Sure.
And so, anyways, he's at 20 yards. Oh. And I'm like, "Are you on him?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so I'm still trying to get that thing off, the ozone off. And finally, he just had enough, and he was hearing that noise and hearing us shuffle, and he busted out of there. And he came back out within an hour, I think. I had him on camera right there.
So he wasn't spooked bad.
No,
just
I still don't think he got our wind. I mean, the ozone was running. We were scent free. I don't think that was the problem. I think it was the noise.
Yeah.
And this big dark hole up there that was some commotion was happening. So, kicking myself because it was my fault. It was because once Aaron said, "Hey, we should set up for where they came up last night," I was like, "Well, let's put the ozone on that window because technically we shouldn't have to open that one. It should have been the safe window because we had a camera on the other one, and just limited spots to put all the stuff that we put out." And sure enough, he put it up where I told him to put it up, but he really wedged it on there. So
our associate editor Jim Richmond messaged me last night. He shot a doe, and he's trying to start to film his hunts, and it wasn't the shot he'd hoped for. The doe was like almost right underneath him, so he didn't get kind of that bilateral organ shot.
Yeah.
And he texted me afterwards. He was like, "Wasn't the shot I wanted, and the footage sucked. I don't know how anyone does this."
Yeah. Well, by themselves. I mean, you have more experience than I do. I don't have any, but that would be very difficult. Filming it by yourself is a whole different level. Filming it's one thing. Filming it by yourself is a whole different level.
Yeah, true. Also, when you have 2 people, though, that's more scent, that's more movement, that's
more gear. That was the one element of it that we were in each other's way.
Yeah.
Normally, I told him when we got out, I'm like, God, I'm kicking myself. If we would have set up like we're set up in that blind far, we would have been fine.
It's like
it would have been
whack-a-mole.
It would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Open the window, put it up right when you're ready to shoot, and shoot. It would have been fine. But because we overthought it with that other blind, we just overthought it based on the movement the night before.
Yeah.
So
Lesson learned.
Hard way. But anyways, so I won't be out tomorrow, but I'm hopeful Scott and Ben are going to go, and hopefully he'll kill that same deer that we had the encounter with. Because that's what I told him. I was like, I just want one of us to shoot that damn thing. Like,
He's got to die this
It's
season.
got to die this season.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like getting the monkey off our back early is just, I mean, we're a team. We're trying to do this together and get some content for the shows, and it would be great. It doesn't matter who it is. It'd be great to get it on camera.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
Hey, we didn't talk about this before the show, but we probably ought to double back to some feedback that we got on your
being a
life as a
disappointment.
disappointment. Do you want to at least recap that follow-up conversation?
Yeah, I don't. So was it 2 podcasts ago? It was the one with Jared, or was it the last one? No,
It was Jared. Yeah, 2 shows ago. Yeah.
And we read some feedback, shout-outs, and it wasn't overly positive about my approach to hunting. And this guy was very disappointed that I wasn't a better hunter because my proximity to Mark and Terry and the knowledge that they have. That's the gist of it.
Yeah.
And so we kind of, we made light of it and talked about it on the show and read it. And that gentleman actually reached out to me, both on our website email and sent me an Instagram DM and apologized for saying the things he said, which he didn't have to do. I mean, that's his opinion or whatever, but he just said he was having a bad day. And when he saw my reaction when we read it on, he felt really bad.
It was the human side. Like you take away the keyboard warrior aspect and you realize like, hey, we're all people just trying to do the best that we can. And it was a really nice, because we end up being the epicenter for a lot of crappy comments. It was very refreshing. It was very big of him to say, I'm sorry, that really is out of character for me. I shouldn't have said that.
I appreciate it. I sent him a message back and said thanks. Good luck this season.
Yeah.
I should have sent the message that the guy in the industry who told me, "Hey, everybody, Matt's apologized. Let's move on." All right, guys, Larry's apologized. Let's move on.
It's fine.
So,
We'll never
anyways,
mention
yeah,
it again.
we're all good.
So that was nice.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm holding. I will be in a holding pattern.
Dang it.
No, it's good.
I lost my no. Got
I'll
it.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Me and Larry.
Man, I was hoping you couldn't find that because I was going to start beatboxing.
Oh,
Something
shoot.
else I picked up.
Hey, I wanted to show a couple new hats we have for the podcast.
This is just one long commercial. It's all this show is.
That's right. So, Alan is shaking his head like, yes, please sell something.
Ecom Allen.
So we got a couple new podcast hats. And Richardson 112s are like the most impossible hat to get. So they're not Richardson 112s, but they are pretty good hats.
Richardson 110s.
No, they're not Richardsons. I mean, I've gone to Richardson directly, and
Ooh,
they're
how's he
impossible to get right now.
We did
hard
our
to get.
best.
So, anyways, but they are cool hats. One's like this blackout camo pattern, and the other one's a nice gray, heather gray, and they both have our podcast patches on the front.
And you are wearing one of the new DeerCast shirts.
That's right.
Wearing the new swag.
That's right. These shirts are comfy.
I like them
Yeah.
a lot. You got to rip off the tag off the back. It's not meant to stay on the shirt.
Oh, I'll have to do
Rip
that.
it off. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they rip off easy. It makes you feel like a man when you just like ripping a phone book in half. It's pretty
Can
much
I
the
write
same
my
thing.
initials where in case anybody confuses this shirt with someone else's, like, oh, this is MDs.
You could do that.
MWD.
You know, it's funny how much people picked up on the pit stain comment I
Yeah,
made.
I saw that. I saw that in the rack pack.
Our new apparel.
Did it come with pit stains? Nope, that cost you extra.
Possibly one of the grossest things in the world. Well,
These hats aren't up on the website yet. They should be in the next couple days.
sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
Dang. Okay. Well, how about some more sneak peeks in this week's Real Wild Clip?
All right.
If you've got kids watching, you may want to have them go in the other room for a minute. Because it's going to get probably an R rating.
That's what she said.
Yeah. All right. One of our rack packers sent us this video, and I don't remember. I apologize. I don't remember who it was offhand who sent us this, but
I should have said this instead.
I don't think so, Tim.
oh, maybe I do know. I'm just out of spite not saying their name. I don't know.
All right, so what do we got?
These are blacktail deer.
Oh, so
I want to say West Virginia.
there's blacktail. I'm sorry to disappoint somebody, but there's blacktail in West Virginia.
That's what they. I
I
think
thought
that's what
blacktail was all out west.
could be.
I guess
West-
West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, you're
east.
missing out on the action, Matt.
Oh, I've seen that kind of action, Tim. A young buck trying to sow his oats.
At nighttime on the side of the road.
Drunk. Oh, wait.
Wait a minute. Sounds like my life.
Yeah. You know what, though? In the wild or in the suburbs, like, that's not something you see very often.
No.
Is this offending you, Tim?
I don't
This
even know
porn-
what's happening right
this
now. Are they
porno.
wrestling?
They're wrestling. What do you call that move, Tim?
Let's not loop this video for the rest of the show.
Hey, you
Hey,
chose it.
The wonders of nature, right?
So you forget who sent us that?
Yeah.
That's the whole part of people sending the clips, is that we say their names.
Mumbly Joe sent us that clip from West
Dare
Virginia.
you, sir? With all you have going on, forget who sent us this clip a month ago.
I did go through all my messages and I couldn't. I don't even remember where it came from. I get messages on Uri platform,
Oh,
which I love.
Tim's important. All right, so we're gonna dive into a question of the day or what?
Let's do that.
All right, so the question of the day is proudly brought to you by DeerCast Waypoints. From lock-on stands, trail cameras, and everything in between, DeerCast Waypoints are purpose-built for the whitetail hunter, and now you can share them with your other DeerCast users. That has been huge.
Huge.
Hold it. Huge. It has been awesome to be able to share waypoints back and forth with, like on the lease or with Scott, something that he maybe changed a trail camera position, moved it 100 yards, send me the new waypoint. It's pretty nice. And
Coordinated.
I think next week we should be able to share paths and plots and areas. So should be by like at least late next week.
So yeah, the plan is pretty much anything that you can create in DeerCast maps, you can share with other people.
Here's the real key. So Mark and Terry and I sent them the update and I said, hey, go download the new version of the app. We have waypoints are shareable. And I think it was Terry said, that's freaking badass.
Ooh, Terry
Like it was
impressed.
an actual, which is hard to do.
Nice.
And then I say, yeah, Mark, send me the waypoint to the stand in Iowa you want me to hunt. And then I'm going to use the directions feature because that's what it was built for. The ability to share a waypoint with somebody, you're hunting out of state or whatever, you're going to a new spot, and you being able to then hit the 3 dots on the side and get directions right to that spot. So I'm going to test it out here next week. I'm going to Iowa.
Waypoint in Kazakhstan or something.
Yeah.
Here you go, Matt.
No, he said, come on.
Sweet.
That's right.
So when are you going to Iowa?
I will, of course, the weather is going to heat up. Not heat up. It's going to warm up a little bit above average temperatures next week when I was planning on going. I was planning on going, driving up Wednesday and hunting through Sunday, which would hit the full moon period there.
Okay.
Or leading up to the full moon. So
Okay.
We'll see. I'm going to keep monitoring the weather. And then, of course, if Mark says, come up, you go up.
Sure. Yeah, you got to
So,
jump when the
that's
time
right.
is right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shooting a new bow should be good.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Added pressure of hunt one of Mark's properties.
Got the new bow it would have been the Friday before last. Got it sighted in, got it dialed in. Feel pretty good about it, honestly. Like,
Car ran good.
it's shooting good. It's a neat bow. Can't wait to be able to show it mid-November.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But man, I was shooting lights out with that V3X.
It's hard to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when the season starts. I'm not. This might surprise you, but I'm no Levi Morgan.
What?
Tim.
What?
Or Lee Lakoski or Mark Drury or even Terry Drury. I'm just as disappointed Larry has pointed out. I'm just Matt Drury.
Oh man. Well, it's hard because I have a Matthews no cam that I shot, I don't know, 6 or so years ago. I sold it to a buddy. I would like to get it back. It shoots so great. It's such a sweet bow, and it's kind of hard to move on because you get dialed in and you're like, this is I feel confident.
I realize what I'm about to say is a comment that's like, oh, poor you. But I've pretty much had a new bow every year just as part of what we
poor
do.
you.
So I don't get familiar with them. Like I use them for a year and it's on to the next one and I'll give it to somebody, whoever internally needs one or whatever. So I don't get a chance to really get attached to one because we're constantly shooting whatever the next model is.
And it is like I will say I'm still shooting the VXR and I love shooting the VXR.
Yeah. I would also like to add that I don't deserve to get a new bow every year. So
You're
don't think
over-equipped.
it's because I'm asking for them. I'd be the first to say, you know what? I'll shoot last year's bow.
Yeah.
I didn't even kill anything with last year's bow.
I'm still overbowed here.
Yeah. So I get it. It's ironic.
Yeah, no one's gonna feel sorry for you, but it is an extra layer of complexity to add to a deer season.
Especially when you're a shitty shooter.
It doesn't help, does it?
Oh, I should be. I thought about this the other day. I'm like, I always ask you, like, when I'm sighting in the new HHA, sighting in the new bow in an HHA, I'm like asking, now, was this what I'm doing? That what I'm doing? And I'm like, shit, I should be the most familiar with sighting in an HHA because I've had to do it
a
the
lot.
most.
Yes.
Switching out. It's like scopes where they constantly have us switching out scopes on our guns.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, God dang it, man. This is shooting really good. Do I have to
It's
do
hard to
this?
start from scratch again.
Every time. I should be great at it, but every time it's like, all right, now. It's like starting from scratch.
The definition of insanity.
Let me pull up the old YouTubes. See how I'm supposed to do this.
Short-term memory loss. Well, Travis has got a question for us this week.
I forgot where we were at.
It's all right. Lost in the moment.
That's right. All right, so how do you calm yourself? Oh, wait, hold on.
So how is it you stay so calm when you get a shooter buck that comes in? Because I get a bad case of the shakes almost every single time, and I'm just looking for different techniques to kind of calm myself down and work my way through the moment and make that clean, ethical shot.
Yeah.
I got a great one. Add about 6 cameras that you got to turn on, an ozone unit, and a window, and like Pete Shepley said this with PSE. He said this years ago. Give yourself a job. Give yourself something to do. It helps with target panic. And I always pair that with Jim Thome, who always says slow the game down. One of the best home run hitters of all time. 612
Baseball.
home runs. Yeah. So he's saying slow the game down. Pete Shepley, who's one of the best shooters and an innovator in our industry, saying give yourself a job or something to do. And they're right. They're 100% right, because if think about it, if you're ranging, it doesn't have to be that you have all these cameras or all this other gear that we got to carry. What if you're ranging them? What if you're adjusting your sight pin? What if you're doing all these things? You're not focused in, and maybe that's a good thing, on his headgear, or, you know what I mean? Like if you're looking at where he's walking to, all right, here's my shooting lane. What's the range over there? Like you're giving yourself a job to do, and you're not necessarily as focused in on that rack or him getting excited or getting the shakes, because you're trying to figure out your next move.
You ever hear stories of people shooting deer in the rack because that's what they're looking at?
No, I've never heard of that.
Used to tell me that all the time when I was a kid.
No, I have accidentally shot one in the follow-up
Was
shot.
it a warning shot?
No, but it turned out to be.
And let that be a lesson.
No, I shot him, and he was running off, and I followed up and tried to get another shell, in it quickly. And
I think I remember. Yeah.
I shot the headgear.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But so my bit of advice is it's the same thing I do for public speaking, is try to imagine that deer naked.
Furless.
See what it does for you.
No bush.
Can we cut that, or
No, this is live.
We should also say this podcast is being live streamed on our Rack Pack if folks are not a part of that.
That's right. Yeah, that's our Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of having a job, of doing something. So when I screw up is when I start thinking of the significance of the moment. Oh, this is the culmination of building the food plot and everyone that helped you and like all that stuff. I can't do that because it's too much pressure. Having a job, following your shot sequence, like, because I have that in my mind. Here's what I do when I come to full draw. I level the bubble on the bubble level in there, and make sure my anchor points are right. And when I do those things, it just you stick to the basics.
That's a good point. Your anchor points, I guess pun intended. That's huge, because in the heat of the moment, if anything gets messed up, if your shot gets messed up, a lot of times you look back, it's like, man, I anchored wrong, or I was bent a little bit sideways to get around a limb, or
you hear
any
stories of people that don't even aim, like they just draw the bow back and let it go because they're so nervous.
I don't know about you, but I can vividly remember the first few deer I shot with a bow, and that being like, Dad's like, well, where'd you hit him? And I'm like, I don't know.
What?
I don't know where I hit him, because it's almost like you hear people say, like, I kind of blacked out in the moment. The excitement of that moment, you only get past that when you when you get a few harvests under your belt.
Yeah.
And that's why Dad always says it. It's like, kill a couple does, knock the rust off.
I totally sign off on that.
And so that's one way to kind of, I guess, get used to the pressure, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But totally, like, that anchor point's huge.
Yeah. Stick to the basics of your shot sequence.
And that's something that's muscle memory. It's like a golfer's swing, a hitter's, swing. It's muscle memory and repetition of doing it so many times. Like, I mean, I've been shooting since mid-June, and I feel better this year than I've ever felt before going into the season.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't wait till August. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just used to the muscle memory.
Yeah, it's the same thing when people, like, when they've been trained on CPR and they just go, like, someone's dead there or dying, and they just kind of revert back to their training. They don't think about how the gravity of the situation. Yeah. They just start doing the protocol.
You know what, though? But some people, it's fight or flight. You learn that early on in school, and that's a real thing. And I think that probably maybe plays into this a little bit. Like, those kind of nerves, or, some people, I think about, not not to say this in a negative way, but there's some guys on the team that they always get that excited, and they've killed 100 deer, and they always get the same level of excitement. And I'm not saying that they're that fight or flight. I'm just saying like they have an elevated sense of excitement or adrenaline in that moment. And it doesn't matter how big or small the deer is, or if it's a doe or a buck, they always have that level of excitement. So maybe you're one of those guys. If you are, I don't know, Travis.
Which is, I mean, it's kind of fun because it's a huge rush. It's like,
that's why you do it.
If anyone on our team is going to die of a cardiac event after killing deer, it's going to be Coon Dog.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to name names.
But everyone loves seeing that because it reminds you of how magical when it all comes together.
It's not an act either. It's genuine.
He does. And there's even stuff that we got to cut out because he's just losing his mind. And who knows how many deer he's killed.
Yeah, I mean, he's plenty. I know. I mean, he's killed plenty of deer.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, I love the fact that it's still so fresh to him.
Yeah.
After all these years.
Hey, we should congratulate him. By the way, he won this season of Critical Mass.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was his comeback season. He hadn't been on in a couple years. He's just had a couple tough years. And last year he had a really good year, and he was back on the cast. And he took home that Hawk office blind. He won the whole thing.
He's going to put it to good use, I'm sure.
Yeah, so pretty cool.
Sweet. All right. Travis, thanks for the question. If you guys want to drop us a question, there's a link in the show notes. Send it in. Travis, get a hold of us via the Rack Pack, and we'll send you a hat. You could win a hat if we use your question on the air.
It might be one of these new hats. It might be this blackout camo. It might be this heather gray. It might be the Richardson 112.
Whoa.
Maybe not, because that's a pretty nice hat.
It might be one that we've already worn with sweatbands on it.
These freaks out there in the Rack Pack might like that.
Does it got pit stains on it already?
That was Danny said that. Burkle. The guy I went on the hunt with years
Oh,
and
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago. Yeah. I thought it was funny.
People love their pit stains.
That's
what
right.
What can I say? Okay, let's jump into the wildlife word. It is brought to you by DeerCast Wind Check. Select your stand and choose your access with confidence using DeerCast Wind Check.
I haven't said that in the Deer Season 22 episode, the one that just launched. I'm like, Wind Check told me not to do what we just did, and it was right.
Here we go.
It was said right.
Well, and I was thinking about hunting yesterday, but for the saddle setup that I hung on Saturday, the Wind Check only got right tomorrow, Wednesday. So I'm using it.
Tomorrow's going to be a good day. I'm jealous, extremely jealous of all of you guys going out.
I'm very excited to be out.
So,
okay, here you go, Matt. During the rut, which age group of whitetails has more testosterone flowing? Is it A, male fawns, B, 1.5 to 2.5 year olds, C, 3.5 and up, or D, they're all the same? They all have the same amount of testosterone during the rut.
boy,
Fawns?
I would either go with they're all the same or C, 3.5-year-olds. Well, no, it's 3.5-year-olds
Plus and beyond,
Let's see here.
While Matt's deliberating, you at home can be locking in your answer.
Which age group of whitetails has more testosterone flowing during the rut? I'm going to go with they're all the same.
Okay. The answer is 3.5 and up.
Son of a gun. I knew that.
There was a study done on free ranging whitetails, and it showed by a matter of the 3.5-year-old whitetails and up have double the amount of testosterone than younger deer do.
It makes sense.
Once they hit that sexual maturity age, they it really ramps up.
But you don't say that.
Whoop. Whoop.
All right.
Okay. We got some shout outs. Trisket 43, which
You know what? I like to say something here. I think Trisket is the trash of all crackers.
Oh.
Triscuits suck.
yeah, they do.
Wheat Thins are where it's at. Chicken and biscuits, you fancy.
Oh, girl.
Trisket suck.
So Walmart has a knockoff Trisket.
I bet it's like eating what's that cereal? That's
the Wilford Brimley. Oh no! I know. Mini wheats.
ugh, gross. Ugh.
Frosted mini wheats are where it's at.
They're tolerable, but it's just like eating freaking wood.
It's mini hay bales is what it is. It'll clean you out. So
good
get
to
that
know.
going for you. Yeah, so Walmart has a generic of Triscuits called Woven Wheats.
Trash.
So he gave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Not to knock your name, buddy. Sorry. Thanks for the 5 stars.
We just spent 5 minutes crapping on your name.
Your
we
choice
also
of
appreciate
crackers. I mean, if that's your name, it's okay. If that's your choice of cracker, you should go back to school, son.
Go back to cracker school.
Get yourself a wheat then and put some freaking Cheese Whiz on top. That spray can Cheese Whiz.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Bo calls it Cheese Whizzle.
I like
And
that.
I was like, don't ever change.
Cheese
Always call it
Whizzle.
Cheese Whizzle.
Or shizzle.
He says, not your favorite podcast. I'm not sure who wouldn't like this podcast. Great information on deer hunting, and habitat improvements. The best part is the joking and fun you guys have while recording. The best episodes are Deaf with Mark and Terry. Ha 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 ha.
Ha ha ha. You gave it one too many.
Sorry. Digging me on my ha's here.
Well, read it right.
Forgetting names.
I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah.
We appreciate that, Triscuit.
Thank you, Triscuit 43.
If you've not rated the show, what's wrong with you?
If next time you give us another review and your name is like Chicken and Biscuit 43 or Wheat Thin 43, you're gonna get a free hat.
Ritz is a good buttery Ritz.
I mean, they are good, but
You got to have a topping on them.
yeah, I mean that Cheese Whiz goes on that too.
Little whizzle on the Ritz.
You know what I do with the Ritz cracker?
I have no idea.
Overlay dog. We haven't
Girl.
talked about Overlay dog in a while.
Dang. Yeah, that's legit.
It was funny because last night someone I know had a misfortunate happening in the deer woods, and Cameron goes, "Oh man, think all the Overlay dog that would have been." I'm like, yeah, man, I hear you.
It's weird because when I talk about seeing deer in the woods, Beth is always like, my wife is always like, oh, that'd be a lot of she actually likes venison. She only thinks about deer as far as the venison factor. And I'm like, well, venison is part of it, but also, age structure and, how mature they are and all that.
But really, I mean, at the root of it, she's right.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're just trying to put food on the table, we've taken it a few
She's
steps too far.
Always thinking about the survival of our family. I don't know why.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, I want a good show deer.
Luckily, she doesn't watch this.
No, nor will she ever.
Nope.
Nor does she know it exists.
Nor does she
Now,
care.
let's keep it that way. Please.
I keep seeing like you can invite people into the rack pack, and my wife's name always comes up. I'm like, nope, not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna.
All right.
All right.
The young kids, they have no idea what we're talking about.
No,
it's a Saturday
no.
Night Live reference.
Circa 1992.
All right.
Okay. And we've got some new rack packers.
All right. So
Okay.
every week, Tim puts a list of names in here. Every week, I read the names. Every week, there's a fake name, and I screw up most people's names. I already see one that's got to be fake. Although it's right next to another one that's got to be fake. Oh, great. Okay.
There's only one faker.
All right. There's Sean Arnett Jr., there's Bobby Alford, there's Randy McDonald, Ronald's older brother. Because
He's
Randy is like, of course, Ronald's a pretty older brother name too. Maybe he's the younger brother. Randy's probably the younger brother. David Lee Williams. Anybody that's got 3 names is usually a serial killer.
I used to think that, but then I realized I think the news just does that to make sure they hone in on the person.
Yeah, because if it was like David Lee Smith, it's like, or if it was David Smith, it's like,
Oh,
no.
I know 5 of those.
It's like David Lee Smith. Yeah, there's 2 of those.
Narrow it down a little bit.
All right. Not knocking your name, David Lee Williams. I happen to like it. All right. Carl Heidoff.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay. He's German, right?
German. Or Austrian, who knows?
Andy Dykemper.
Probably.
Shorty Fleas.
What's up, Shorty?
These last 3 names all could be the fake name. Shorty Fleas, Pam Purrs, Hanson Pussy. Scott.
What does that have to
He's
do
got
with
his
it?
hands in his hair. All right, I'm going to go with... I mean, this is a tough choice because Pam Purrs, Shorty Fleas and Hanson Pussy. Tim's crying. I'm going to go with Hanson Pussy. I think it's actually Pusey.
I would guess Pusey.
Okay. I take it back. I'm going with Pam Pers as the fake name.
You got it. Nice job.
Yes. Hold it. I deserve an applause.
I'll hold it. Can I let it go now?
Huh?
Can I let it go now?
Can't let
I was
go.
holding it.
No, you're crying?
Well, you told me to hold it.
Okay, let it go.
Okay. So a lot of people call saddles that people hunt out of death diapers.
Okay.
Because
Does
it
that have
look
to
like
do with what we were just doing?
Well, Pampers.
Or are we moving on? Oh, Pampers. Pampers.
Kind of diaper.
Damn you, Tim. But I mean, I would have thought Shorty Fleas
That's
or
a cool
Hanson
name.
Pusey. That looks like another word that stands for a name of a cat.
I wonder if Shorty's related to the bass player in Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Shorty Fleas. Shorty Fleas could be anybody I've ever met in St. Genevieve. They all got nicknames.
Yeah. Or like my dad was a carpenter, so all of his buddies on the job site, they all had weird nicknames.
Yeah, on Dad's we had Itchy, we had Rambo. There's just like Itchy and Rambo. Those are right there.
Yeah, no,
stop there.
No one has real names on the job site.
Shorty, that's a good one.
What's up, Shorty? Well,
right.
I'd say that's a record-breaking episode there. I think the fact that it's live, the fact that we had so many laughs per minute,
I'd like a breakdown, Alan, on laughs per minute. Get your
Could you
calculator
run a
out.
report on that for us?
0.
We'd like to
He's
see
not in a
some
good mood today.
We'd like to see some graphs too.
All right. Alan's feeling under the weather, and we're in the thick of the hard part of our season, frankly.
Everything is firing right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Hopefully not us. Hopefully we're not getting fired.
someday I was thinking about going.
Alan did a slow
going to
turn
get-
around his shoulder. Always looking over your shoulder. Look over your shoulder,
Alan and I
Alan.
were
That's right.
Talking about getting gigs at Walmart, maybe.
Yeah.
Be a greeter.
I mean, the amount of customer support that you guys have to put up with, and then customer support in terms of dealing with us, juries.
It is cool to get to interface like with some of our users, especially when they're Rack Pack members and they're like podcast.
JJ
listeners,
Worley,
and
he
they're
comes to mind. He came in there.
JJ, yeah. Like,
Hopefully we got him rolling.
he said like it took him 5 different attempts, but he got it figured out. So he was good that the day after.
Oh, good.
He put that in there. So
JJ, you win an award. You now get the subscription you paid for.
you got to earn your DeerCast sub.
All
right. Well, hopefully we've got some great news to share with you guys next episode. Chances are we won't.
I will say this. There's a couple team members that are on some big deer that are having some close encounters. So hopefully we'll get to have a podcast with somebody that's killed one of them.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I saw JP Morris killed a giant deer this morning.
In velvet too.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mark was on that. We were on a Zoom with him this morning. He was showing us pictures of it. Pretty cool.
We do have to start wrapping up this show. I know we'd mentioned doing a Q&A at the end. Maybe if we get good feedback on doing this live on Facebook, maybe we'll do something like that in the future.
Yeah, you can only see it in the Rack Pack. So go to Facebook, type in 100% Wild Rack Pack or Drury Outdoors Rack Pack. Any of that stuff will bring you there. Answer a couple questions, and you're in. Mm-hmm. We got well over 1,000 members. We just started it.
Yeah, maybe 1,300 or so.
Jared laughed at us when we said that.
Yeah, he was expecting in the millions.
Now we can make fun of him because this isn't an episode he's on, so he's not going to listen to it.
we beeped out his misspeech.
We better move on. I'm not here to talk about the past.
It makes me die every time I hear it. If you haven't listened to it, I think it's episode 285. Listen for the beep.
Yeah.
And just use your imagination.
All right.
Deep tease.
Until next time, hope you're out there. Hope you're hitting this cold front. Check your DeerCast. It's go time. Hey, a lot of seasons open October 1st. Be safe out there.
Hey, listen.
Hey.
DeerCast is now supercharged with maps. Get ahead of your game with killer new features like live Doppler radar, wind check out to 5 days, virtual rain gauges, GPS path tracking, and more. Plus, get our 14-day revolutionary DeerCast prediction and access to DeerCast Track. Prep, predict, and pursue with DeerCast.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV was brought to you by Bass Pro Shops in Cabela's.